Hello everyone, my name is Syed Jafer Hussain. I'm Assistant Manager at EY. I'm an SCCM member and currently doing my MBA from Holt International Business School. Today we will be discussing about working with influence as to how we can increase the chances of influencing people. Our discussion will be based upon the book Working with Influence, which is written by Dr. Amanda Nimon Peters. This book offers valuable insights into the nine principles of influence that most commonly shape people's behaviors and decision making in the workplace. Our focus will be on Principle 5 effort and Principle 2 social limitation. So let us discuss Principle 5 first. Principle 5 effort. Make it as easy as possible. It is well documented that humans generally take the easiest and lowest effort pathway to achieve the outcome they seek, whether the effort involved is physical or mental. The more difficult it is to do something, the less likely it becomes that the people will do it. As per the studies of the linguist in 1940s, George Kingsley Ziff, we have to assume everyone is lazy, unless they have a good reason not to be. While this principle may not apply to every individual in every situation, it is generally accurate for most people most of the time. Therefore, relying on it can often lead to correct assumptions about human behavior. This conclusion is also supported by findings from various other studies. This assumption that, on average, people will choose an option that is easy instead of the one that is more beneficial but more effortful is at the foundation of the nudge theory, which is part of the work for which Richard Thaler and Cass Sunstein won a Nobel Prize in Economics. The studies also shows that actually our brains are pre-programmed to avoid effort. We have to acknowledge that laziness in many cases is simply normal human behavior. Since people are naturally inclined to conserve energy and efforts to minimize unnecessary work, it is more likely to be a common feature of the workplace too. So, the question arises that what counts as effort in a workplace context? For example, reading an email or written message is an effort, and the effort increases when the message is long or complex. We have to analyze it ourselves that what counts as an effort to achieve the best result. Asking for a favor is also a common ask for effort in the workplace. The first step in applying the effort principle is to shift your own mindset. Rather than focusing on what you want others to do and how to persuade them to do it, focus instead on understanding their perspective and ask yourself the right question that can help make the desired action easier and more appealing for them. According to the new approach, the requester is required to take the bulk of the effort. That is entirely appropriate because it is the requester who wants the outcome to happen. The effort required from the receiver is drilled down to bare minimum. So it's now more likely that he or she will be willing to comply. Make it as easy as possible for people to do what you want them to do. You will be more influential if you ask someone to push a button rather than push a boulder. Now let us discuss some of my personal examples. First example, dealing with audit clients. As an auditor, we require several audit documents from the client finance team. The previous request resulted in delays, repeated follow-up, and sometimes forgetting to require the important audit documents at the initial stage of the audit. This was what I used to send the requirement to the client. To reduce the effort required from the client, I prepared a simplified document request tracker that clearly listed the requirements for each FS line item in a separate section. It includes status, responsible person, request date, due date, and any EY or client comments relating to the specific requirement. I have also added different tabs for the sample sheets and clearly mentioning what is required in any particular description. Instead of reviewing multiple emails, the client could easily understand all requirements from one document. Now, the client was able to prioritize outstanding requests more efficiently, resulting in faster responses and improved document submission timeline. However, in the future, I will be more careful to the requirements shared with the client and do most of the things myself. I will also try to attach some examples of the required documents, considering the confidentiality of course, making it as easy as possible for the client to achieve the better result. Example 2, dealing with audit associates. As an assistant manager, I have to work on different audit engagements simultaneously, and I have to follow up from allocated associates the status of the work for any particular client. Previously, the associates used to share the status sheet with me, where it was only mentioned that not started, under progress, near completion, and complete. I did not had an idea in which phase the audit is and which important tasks are completed and which are not. Applying the effort principle, I created a simple status tracker showing each important task separately and also their completion status. Now they have to just tick mark for what's done. This gives the team members an easy and consistent method to update the progress without preparing any further emails or any further extra sheets. After this, team members updated their progress more regularly, their visibility have improved, and the number of follow-up requests reduced significantly. Now I also had an idea what is the status of any particular client in any particular group. So going forward, I would also automate the reminders and try to integrate the trigger into the team's existing workflow tools to make an update even more easier. At the end of this section, I just want to say that applying the effort principle, we eventually are making our lives more easy. So, now let us discuss principle 2, social imitation, the unseen influence of community. It is common to hear that we choose our own path in life, and we tend to think of ourselves as fully in control of our own behavior. We see our decisions as a matter of personal value, and our ability to exercise discipline as just a matter of willpower. But what if I say it's not true most of the time? Behavioral science demonstrates that the community of people around us has a profound, unconscious, and uninvited effect on our own behavior. Our community influences our choices, what goals we set, and how we behave to gain social approval. These influences operate not only at the unconscious level, but can also lead us to behave in ways that are inconsistent with our stated values and beliefs. So why we do that? We imitate choices because it makes decisions easier. Decision making consumes mental energy, a phenomenon known as decision fatigue. To preserve this energy for critical decisions, Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg minimized routine choices by wearing the same style of clothing daily. While some individuals may see themselves as independent thinkers who challenge social norms, most people are generally influenced by societal expectations most of the time. A social norm is a conscious or unconscious understanding of the behavior expected in a particular situation. For example, in a lift, people typically face the door and watch the floor indicator because that is considered normal and socially accepted behavior. Social imitation is stronger when we like or feel close to the gang. The power of social norms increases the more we care about being part of the group. A good illustration of this effect comes from a US study that involved 3,700 college students taking online surveys. The study found that drinking behavior closely matched what participants believed was normal among the groups they identified with, illustrating how social norms shape actions based on the perceived peer behavior. The third reason is we feel pressure to conform even when people around us are wrong or immoral. Social conformity can influence individuals to agree with others even when they know the group's answer is incorrect, also shown by the famous study conducted by Solomon Asch in 1951. And the list of the reasons goes on and on. Similarly, social imitation influences in our professional environment as well. Like the behavior of the senior management is an extremely potent source of information to employees about what kind of behavior is expected, accepted, or punished. Because the action of those leadership indicate the powerful social norm. We can also see from this picture that how the behavior is affected by the workplace norm. Coming towards the personal example, in EY MENA, every office has a digital implementation KPI, which every office needs to ensure that your digital implementation are met for different KPIs which are set by a central team. Me and my manager was allocated to follow up with the other managers on the same KPI so that to track the position of our team on the leadership board. What we were doing that we were taking the list from the central team. We sent the status to every manager for their clients, including the clients where the KPI were not met, and requesting them to comply with the KPI as soon as possible. And we were receiving very limited responses. Then what we started to do recently that we made an Excel sheet for every manager for each KPI showing his results just beside the MENA average. In the same sheet, we also started showing his results and a couple of other managers in the office with the higher KPI rate. We also started to show in the same sheet the assurance leaders' clients' KPI status. And we also started to show the KPI status of the digital leader of our office in the same sheet. We also showed the list of the ranking including our office in the Digital Audit Office Leaders Board. We are now getting more responses than before. In future, I will prepare a dashboard where all such comparisons are on a single slide with just a click away. By just applying the two of the 9 principles, I have managed to increase my influential power significantly. I highly recommend you guys to read, understand, and apply the principles of working with influence. Thank you.